What if you already have what you want? Not tomorrow, not in some distant future, but right now, sitting inside the field of endless possibilities that surrounds you. The truth is, your desire is not out of reach. It already exists, waiting for you to align with it. Most people live their lives chasing after outcomes, believing their dream is something far away. But what if reality doesn't work the way you've been told? What if it's not about creating something from nothing, but about stepping into the version of reality where what you want is already true? In this video, you will discover how quantum manifestation really works. You'll learn why some people seem to attract opportunities effortlessly while others struggle for years. You'll see how energy, focus and belief collapse the possibilities of the quantum field into the physical experience you live. And most importantly, you'll understand how to use this power for yourself, so you no longer feel like life is something happening to you, but instead something flowing from you. Now let me give you a warning. What you're about to hear may sound unusual, even controversial, because true manifestation is not simply about repeating affirmations or creating a vision board. Those tools can help, but they are not the core. The real secret lies in understanding how your thoughts and emotions interact with the quantum field, and how that interaction shapes the reality you step into. Scientists have studied this field for decades. Experiments show that particles do not behave in fixed ways until they are observed. This means reality itself is not as solid or predetermined as we think. It bends, it shifts, it responds. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. When you hold a belief with deep emotion, when you embody the energy of already having your desire, you send a signal into this field. It's like tuning your inner frequency to the exact channel where your reality already exists. This isn't mystical. It's not magic. It's resonance. Just as a radio picks up only the station it's tuned to, you experience only the version of life that matches your dominant frequency. Change your frequency, and you change your life. But here's the part that most people miss. You can't just think about what you want. You have to become the version of you who already has it. That means shifting your state of being, your emotions, your habits, your expectations. Without this shift, you're trying to tune into a channel while broadcasting static. That's why many people feel like manifestation doesn't work for them. They're sending mixed signals. Stay with me until the end of this video, because we're going deeper than the surface level teachings you've already heard. You'll discover how to clear the static, how to align with the reality you want, and how to stop chasing results that always seem one step ahead. Once you understand the truth of quantum manifestation, you'll see that the power was never outside of you. It was always within you, waiting for the moment you finally decide to use it. Would you like me to now expand this into the full script based on the outline we created earlier? Before we talk about the science, the theories, or even the doubts people have around manifestation, let's get one thing clear. It's not wishful thinking. It's energetic alignment. This single phrase changes the entire way you see manifestation. Too often, people assume manifestation means sitting quietly, hoping for the best, and waiting for miracles to fall from the sky. That's why so many give up. They believe nothing works because they confuse hope with alignment. Hope is passive. Alignment is active. Hope says, I want this someday. Alignment says, I am already this person now. Think about it. When you're hoping, you're placing your desire outside of yourself. You're saying it doesn't belong to you yet. You're waiting, longing, and reinforcing the idea that you don't have it. That vibration keeps you separated from your desire. But when you align your energy, you become the version of you who already lives that reality. This doesn't mean you're pretending. It means you're matching your inner state, your thoughts, feelings, and expectations to the outcome you want to experience. That shift in energy is what begins to reshape your reality. Imagine someone who wants to be wealthy. If they sit around hoping for money, they stay locked in lack. Every thought they have reinforces the absence of wealth. They count the bills they can't pay. They worry about the money that isn't there. That energy keeps them stuck. But now imagine that same person shifting into alignment. They begin to think and feel like a person who already has abundance. They walk differently, they speak differently, and they make decisions from a place of confidence rather than fear. This shift opens doors. Opportunities that were once invisible suddenly appear because they've tuned themselves to the frequency of abundance. Energetic alignment is about coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions all move in the same direction. If you're thinking about success but feeling unworthy and acting with hesitation, you're sending out mixed signals. The universe doesn't respond to mixed signals. It responds to clarity. Alignment is clarity in motion. It's the difference between saying I want to be healthy, while still living in stress and doubt, versus embodying the calm, grateful, and motivated energy of someone who values their body and acts like it's already whole. This is why visualization and affirmations sometimes fail for people. They repeat words, but deep down, they feel the opposite. Their energy is out of sync. Alignment doesn't happen in the mind alone. It happens in the body, in the heart, and in the way you show up daily. You can say, I am confident 100 times, but if your body is tight with fear, and your actions contradict those words, you're not aligned. Alignment happens when what you think, feel, and do are all speaking the same language. When you step into alignment, you no longer feel like you're chasing something. Instead, you feel like you're living from it. That subtle change is powerful. It's the invisible difference between those who manifest consistently and those who struggle endlessly. It's not wishful thinking. It's energetic alignment. It's becoming the match to what you want, so reality has no choice but to reflect it back to you. First, become the version of you who already has your goal. This is one of the most overlooked truths about manifestation. People usually think they need to wait until the dream arrives before they can act or feel like the person they want to be. But the process is reversed. You don't wait to become that person, you become them now, and the reality follows. It's about identity, not just desire. You can want something endlessly, but if your inner identity doesn't match it, your energy keeps pushing it away. Think about someone who dreams of success. If they continue seeing themselves as someone small, unlucky, or unworthy, they will act like that person. Their choices will shrink. Their body language will signal hesitation. Their energy will repel opportunities instead of attracting them. But the moment they begin to step into the identity of a successful person, even before any evidence shows up, they send a powerful signal into the world. People around them feel it. Their decisions shift. Their confidence builds. The version of reality that matches their new identity starts to open up. Becoming the version of you who already has your goal doesn't mean faking it. It's not about pretending or lying to yourself. It's about embodying. If your goal is love, ask, how does the version of me who is loved and cherished live? Do they carry themselves with openness and warmth, or do they shrink back in fear of rejection? If your goal is abundance, ask, how does the version of me who already has financial freedom behave? Do they obsess over every penny, or do they make decisions from trust and clarity? When you answer these questions honestly, you find the small changes that pull you into alignment with that future self. Your future self is not a stranger, it's a version of you that already exists in possibility. Every time you act in alignment with that version, you collapse the distance between who you are now and who you want to be. The quantum field doesn't respond to your wishes, it responds to your being. When you become, you shift your frequency, and your reality has no choice but to reflect it back. This is why so many people get stuck when trying to manifest. They think about the goal, but they keep acting as the old self. They want to be fit, but identify as someone who struggles with discipline. They want success but carry the story that they're destined to fail. They want love, but hold the belief that they're unlovable. These inner contradictions keep them locked in their current reality. The breakthrough happens when they shift identity first. Becoming the version of you who already has your goal is powerful because it creates coherence. Your thoughts, emotions, and behaviors start to flow together. You feel the confidence, you think from that place, and you act on it daily. Slowly the world adjusts around you. The people, the opportunities and the resources begin to align because you have aligned first. It's not the world that changes first, it's you. You don't create. You collapse reality into the version where your desire exists. This idea may sound strange at first, but it's the key to understanding manifestation at a deeper level. The universe isn't an empty canvas you're painting on from scratch. Instead, it's like a vast library of possibilities, already written and waiting. Every version of your life exists in potential. There's a version where you succeed, a version where you struggle, a version where you love, and a version where you live in fear. All of these paths exist in the quantum field, but you only experience the one you collapse into with your energy. Think of it like tuning into a radio station. The music doesn't start playing because you created it. It was already there, broadcasting in the background. You simply turn the dial until you match the frequency. That's how reality works. When you align your thoughts, feelings and beliefs with the version of reality you want, you collapse into it. You don't create money, love, health, or peace out of thin air. You collapse into the version of life where it's already yours. This is why manifestation isn't about desperate wishing or forcing. Wishing keeps your desire in the future. Forcing keeps it out of reach. But when you understand collapse, you see that the goal already exists. You don't chase it, you step into it. Your job is to line up your energy with the version of yourself who lives in that reality. If your desire is freedom, the version of you who has it already exists. What thoughts do they think? What actions do they take? How do they feel when they wake up? Answering these questions guides you to shift your energy and collapse into that path. Collapsing reality doesn't mean everything changes in one instant. Sometimes the shift is subtle. You may notice small signs, a chance encounter, a new opportunity, or a sudden idea that lead you in that direction. These are not coincidences. They are indicators that you're tuning into the version of reality where your desire is unfolding. The collapse begins inside of you, and then the outer world starts to rearrange to reflect that change. Science gives us a glimpse of how this works through quantum experiments. In the double-slit experiment, particles behave as if they exist in all possibilities at once until they are observed. Observation collapses the possibilities into one reality. In your life, your focus and belief act like the observation. When you embody the outcome with clarity and energy, you collapse the infinite options into the one you want to live. This is why fear and doubt can be so powerful. If you constantly think from fear, you collapse into the version of life where fear dominates. If you think from lack, you collapse into the version of life where lack repeats itself. But if you shift to faith, gratitude and confidence, you collapse into the version of life where abundance already exists. You don't need to build it piece by piece, it's already there, waiting for you to step into it. Think of the quantum field as a place of possibility, not a magic trick. Too often, when people hear the word quantum, they immediately think of something mysterious, mystical or even supernatural. But that's not what it is. The quantum field is simply a way of describing the invisible space of energy and potential that underlies everything we see. It's not about pulling rabbits out of hats or wishing for miracles. It's about recognizing that reality is more flexible than it appears, and that possibility is built into the very structure of the universe. Understanding the quantum field as possibility also frees you from the pressure of thinking you have to force your desires into existence. You're not making the impossible happen. You're not conjuring something that was never there. You're aligning yourself with the possibility that already exists in this field. If love is your desire, there's a version of your life in the field where love flows freely. If abundance is your desire, there's a version where financial freedom already exists. The field holds every possible outcome, and your alignment decides which one unfolds in your life. The mistake many people make is thinking the quantum field works like a magic trick. They believe if they say the right words or visualize hard enough, the universe will give them something. But that mindset keeps them in a place of separation. The field doesn't respond to demands. It responds to resonance. You don't trick it, you tune into it. You don't beg it, you match it. The moment your inner state matches the outcome you want, the field reflects it. That's not magic. That's how resonance works, the same way a tuning fork vibrates when it meets a frequency it recognizes. Seeing the quantum field as possibility also helps you understand why both fear and faith matter so much. If the field contains all possibilities, then it holds the outcomes you don't want as well. Focus on fear, and you align with that version. Focus on trust, and you align with another. The field doesn't choose for you, it mirrors your state of being. That's why it's so important to cultivate clarity and consistency. Every thought and feeling sends a signal into this field, nudging you toward one possibility or another. Belief alone isn't enough, belief nudges you to act. Many people misunderstand manifestation because they stop at belief. They think if they just believe hard enough, things will magically appear. But belief, on its own, is only the beginning. It's the spark, not the fire. Belief matters because it shifts your state of mind. It opens the door of possibility. But for the door to actually take you somewhere, you need to walk through it. That's where action comes in. When you believe something is possible, your brain and body respond. Your focus sharpens, you start noticing opportunities you would have ignored before. Psychologists call this the reticular activating system, the filter in your brain that decides what's important. If you believe you'll fail, your brain will show you reasons why you're right. If you believe success is possible, suddenly the same brain starts pointing out chances and ideas that were always there but hidden from your awareness. Belief changes perception, and perception leads to movement. But belief without action is like planting a seed and never watering it. You hold the potential but nothing grows. Action is the bridge between inner alignment and outer reality. Think about someone who believes they can start a business. If they stop there, nothing happens. But if that belief nudges them to learn a skill, talk to new people, or take a small risk, the field begins to shift around them. Each action is like a vote for the reality they want to live in. The more votes they cast, the stronger that reality becomes. This is why so many people get frustrated when manifestation doesn't seem to work. They believe but they don't move. They wait hoping the universe will do all the heavy lifting. But the truth is, the universe responds to signals. Action is a signal. It shows you're serious, that your belief isn't just in your head but in your body, in your choices, in the way you live. It's the difference between someone saying I believe in health while never changing their habits, and someone who believes in health and chooses to eat differently, exercise and care for their body. One is hoping, the other is aligning. Belief nudges you to act because it shifts how you see yourself. If you truly believe you are worthy of love, you act with confidence instead of desperation. If you believe abundance is possible, you make decisions from trust instead of fear. Belief pulls you into behaviors that match your new state of being. Without that step, belief stays trapped as wishful thinking. With action, belief becomes a creative force. The beauty is that action doesn't need to be massive. Small actions repeated with consistency build momentum. A single step opens the way for the next. Belief gives you courage to take that first step, even when you don't see the full path. And as you act, the universe meets you halfway. The possibilities of the field start to collapse around your energy, aligning with the signals you've been sending through your choices. Belief begins the journey. Action carries it forward. Expectation changes perception. That's real power. When you expect something, your mind begins to shape the way. Two people can walk into the same room, but what they notice will be completely different. One may see problems everywhere, the other may see possibilities. The difference isn't the room, it's the expectation. Expectation acts like a filter. It decides which parts of reality stand out and which parts fade into the background. That's why it can feel like your expectations create your reality. In truth, they shape the lens through which you experience it. This isn't just philosophy. It's psychology and biology at work.
The human brain processes endless amounts of information every second, but it can't show you everything. So it chooses what to highlight based on what you expect. This is why when you're thinking about buying a new car, suddenly you see that exact model everywhere on the road. It feels uncanny, but it's simply your brain aligning perception with expectation. That same mechanism works in manifestation. When you expect opportunities, your brain highlights them. When you expect failure, your brain highlights obstacles. In both cases, reality seems to prove you right. Expectation also shapes behavior, which in turn shapes results. If you expect to succeed in a conversation, you approach it with ease and confidence. That confidence changes the way people respond to you, which reinforces the success. If you expect rejection, you carry tension, speak with hesitation, and often create the very rejection you fear. The loop begins with expectation, moves into perception, and ends with outcome. This is why people say life mirrors your inner state. There's also a physiological side to expectation. The placebo effect is proof. When patients expect a treatment to work, their body often responds as if it has. Pain decreases. Symptoms improve. Even when given a sugar pill, the expectation triggers real physical change. That's not superstition. That's the power of perception shaping biology. If the mind can shift the body this way, imagine what expectation does to the reality you experience outside of you. Expectation doesn't mean blind optimism. It's not pretending everything is perfect. It's setting a default state for how you engage with the world. When you expect growth, you notice lessons in mistakes instead of reasons to quit. When you expect abundance, you see chances to expand rather than reasons to shrink. When you expect love, you find connection instead of rejection. It's not magic. It's the way your nervous system and attention work together to highlight what matters most. And here's where it becomes real power. Expectation doesn't just color what you see, it influences what you choose. Every choice nudges reality in one direction or another. If your expectation is wired for possibility, you take actions that open doors. If your expectation is wired for limitation, you close them before they can appear. Over time, your life begins to look exactly like your expectations predicted. Not because the world bent to your will, but because you trained your perception to lead you there. That is the subtle but undeniable power of expectation. There's a common belief that thoughts alone can bend reality, that if you simply think about something hard enough it will appear in your life. But here's the truth, there's no proof that thoughts by themselves manifest things. If that were the case, every fleeting desire, every casual daydream, and every negative worry would instantly shape our world in uncontrollable ways. Imagine how chaotic life would be if every random thought turned into matter. The human mind generates thousands of thoughts every single day, many of them contradictory, scattered, or inconsistent. If manifestation relied solely on thought, life would be nothing more than a storm of unpredictability. What actually matters is the quality, consistency, and energy behind those thoughts. A thought is like a spark. It has potential, but without fuel, it burns out instantly. When a thought is supported by emotion, belief, and aligned action, it becomes more than just an idle mental flicker. It turns into a frequency that begins to influence how you move, how you respond, and how you interpret the opportunities around you. In this way, the thought itself doesn't manifest. It's the integration of the thought with the way you live that activates change. Think of it like planting a seed. Having a thought is like holding that seed in your hand. It contains potential, but unless you place it into the soil, water it, and nurture it with light, it remains just a seed. Thoughts are the starting point, not the whole process. Science even shows us that neurons fire in patterns when we repeat certain ideas, making those thoughts easier to access and influencing our habits. But until those habits shape real choices, the thought doesn't leap into existence as a manifested reality. The power of thought is subtle. It alters your awareness, which alters your choices, which alters your results. For example, if you keep thinking about abundance, you start noticing opportunities to create abundance that you may have ignored before. If you think of health, you may feel nudged to eat better, move more, or release stress, which over time shapes a healthier body. But the abundance or health doesn't magically appear out of thin air. It flows from thought into perception into action. That's the pathway. It's important to be honest with this process because too many people believe they can think once about wealth, love or success, and then sit back waiting for the universe to deliver like an order at a restaurant. When nothing happens, they feel frustrated, and they conclude that manifestation doesn't work. But the truth is, they misunderstood the mechanism. Thought alone is incomplete. Thought is the compass, not the destination. So when you hear that your thoughts create your reality, understand it with nuance. It's not that every passing thought becomes matter, it's that your dominant thought patterns shape the way you engage with life. They pull you towards certain outcomes and away from others. They influence what you notice, what you believe is possible, and how bold you are in pursuing it. This is the hidden link between inner world and outer world, not magic. Not instant but alignment that transforms possibility into reality. Before we dive deeper, it's important to clear up a common confusion. Just because something is labeled with the word quantum doesn't mean it automatically carries scientific truth. Many people borrow the language of physics, entanglement, wave function, superposition, and use it loosely in self-help or spirituality, without really understanding what those terms mean. This doesn't make their ideas completely invalid, but it does mean we need to approach them carefully. Otherwise we risk treating science like a decoration rather than a discipline. Real science comes from rigorous testing, peer review and repeatable results, not just from a word sprinkled on top of a claim. Think about how advertising often uses scientific-sounding words to give products credibility. A skin cream might say it uses quantum molecules or cellular vibrations. The phrases sound impressive, but when you look closer, they don't actually mean anything specific in the context they're being used. The same thing happens in the world of manifestation and personal growth. Some people rely on impressive language to make an idea seem more powerful, but the truth of that idea doesn't depend on the label. It depends on the results and the understanding behind it. The real danger in misusing terms is that it confuses people who are genuinely trying to learn. If you don't have a background in physics, hearing someone say, "your mind collapses," the wave function might sound believable, even if the person saying it doesn't truly grasp what collapse means in quantum mechanics. Over time the word quantum becomes less about describing real scientific phenomena and more about selling a story. And while stories can inspire, they shouldn't be mistaken for proof. That doesn't mean we need to throw away every teaching that borrows from science. Many practices, like meditation, visualization, or affirmations, can bring real benefits without needing to be wrapped in scientific jargon. They work because of psychology, focus, habit, and emotional energy. You don't need to call it quantum for it to be powerful. Sometimes, simplicity carries more truth than a decorated explanation. Saying your focus shapes your results is clear. Saying you're collapsing probabilities in the quantum field of infinite outcomes might sound more impressive, but unless it's grounded in fact, it's only noise dressed as depth. It's worth remembering that real quantum mechanics is stranger than most self-help claims could ever imagine. Scientists deal with particles behaving in ways that defy our everyday logic, but those behaviors occur under highly controlled conditions, often at atomic scales, not in daily human thought. That doesn't make your mind less powerful, it just means your mind works through different mechanisms. Neuroscience, biology and psychology already give us powerful tools to understand how belief, expectation and focus shape outcomes. You don't need to misapply physics to validate your personal growth. The real takeaway is this: using the word quantum doesn't add truth to an idea. It's not a shortcut to legitimacy. What matters is whether the practice improves your life, whether it helps you grow, and whether it empowers you to take action. When you strip away the unnecessary complexity, what remains is clarity, and clarity is far more transformative than confusion disguised as wisdom. Let's bring all of this together in one powerful truth. Quantum manifestation isn't about forcing wishing or trying to bend the universe to your will. It's about alignment, awareness, and the courage to step into the version of reality that already holds what you desire. You're not pulling something from thin air, you're tuning into the frequency where it already exists. The science reminds us to stay grounded, the practice reminds us to stay intentional, and together they show us that reality is not fixed. It bends in response to how you show up, what you expect, and the actions you take from that expectation. If this message has resonated with you and helped you see manifestation in a clearer way, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. There's so much more waiting for you, and together we'll keep uncovering the truth behind creating your reality.